Sunday, happy day, whichever day you're watching this. I'm recording this on a Sunday. It's actually Easter Sunday, and we were lucky enough to have the Easter Bunny hop by our house last night, hiding all sorts of goodies, high and low. He was very generous this year. So I figured now would be the perfect time to talk about one of my biggest struggles, overeating. Now, not so much when I was on my weight loss journey, and even before that when I had a more restrictive mindset toward food. Disclaimer time. Today we're gonna be talking about some things that may be sore points for you. I know they were for me when I was on my weight loss journey, struggling with food, struggling feeling in control around food, binge type tendencies, overeating. So going into this video, know that all eating behaviors exist on a spectrum. Even if you're not at the exact same point that I was at before, that I'm at now, just kind of take things with a grain of salt, because not all advice that applies here will apply here, will be relatable here, might even end up being harmful over here. Starting the day with a bang. Last night I made cookies and cream cookies, but it was late, I wasn't hungry, and I have a theory that cookies, when perfectly cooked, not overcooked, are best the next day, which based on my field research can confirm. We're having cookies for breakfast. Yes, singular, a cookie and a coffee. This is not an everyday thing. This is not the most balanced option. I think we both know this. But last night I made cookies. I make cookies at least once a week. I find baking therapeutic. But last night it was late when I made them. I wasn't hungry. This morning I was hungry. I was hungry for cookies. I had a cookie. When I was struggling to lose weight, had I started my day like this, with a cookie, let's say, I would have immediately felt the need to compensate for this. I would have felt like I had to offset that bad food with a good food. So I would whip up like an egg white omelet or a protein shake or something like that. By all means, if you have a cookie for breakfast and you're still hungry, eat more. But if you're only eating because you're trying to offset, you're trying to make up for eating something bad, or you feel like you're obsessed with hitting your protein numbers exactly, know that A, you're not gonna lose all your gains if you skip protein at one meal, and B, by continuing to eat once you've already eaten that thing that you knew you really wanted, you're overriding your body's internal hunger cues and instead putting your faith in some external belief system, reducing trust in your body and increasing your daily calorie intake in a way that's definitely not going to support the calorie deficit required for weight loss. Sneak snack time! This will actually be more of a full-on meal because today I have one of my toughest runs of the week, so I want to make sure I have a little bit more in the tank than just that cookie we had earlier. We have some fuel to keep us cruising through, and today I am in the mood for sweet potatoes. I remember reading somewhere about a miso glaze pairing well with root vegetables, so I whipped together some ingredients, popped that in the oven, sauteed some spinach, scrambled some eggs, add a little garnish, and ta-da! I don't think I've ever tried a miso roasted sweet potato before, so this will be new. We've done it. This is how we're making sweet potatoes from now on. I will put the recipe down below, but this is so good. It's got that little bit of nuttiness from the miso. It's got a little bit of salt, which is great before the run for the electrolytes, and that sriracha. I like that little kick. All right, so I'm gonna eat this, then we will probably be getting ready for a run soon after that. Okay, so I promised we'd talk about internal and external eating cues. First, bit of history. Appetite control is a process that involves both conscious and subconscious decisions on when to start eating, what to eat, how much to eat, and when to stop eating. This system has adapted over thousands of years to ensure that humans eat enough food for survival. However, the same adaptations that helped us then may now be part of what makes it so difficult to eat in moderation. Only recently have humans had stable access to food. As recently as our grandparents' generation, and still in many parts of the world, there are food shortages, there are droughts, there are things that affect food availability. And when food is scarce, humans adapt to seek out more energy-dense, more high-calorie food, as this will sustain them longer, as well as become hyper-aware of their environment from a food standpoint. And so this brings us to internal and external cues. Internal cues are regulated by physiological processes and happen inside the body, so think stomach stretch, stomach fullness, insulin levels, etc. Whereas external cues are a psychological, so in the brain response to environmental factors that are outside of your body. While internal and external cues can work together to improve eating behaviors,
More often than not, especially in our current society, external cues will overwhelm the internal, leading to a more complex relationship with food. Sometimes being a human sucks. With great knowledge, knowledge is power. With great power comes responsibility. I am a motivational speaker. Taking this meal as an example, I wasn't really hungry going into this meal, but I knew that I would be out for just about an hour. As we near the hour mark, especially at higher intensities, your fuel will run out. So if I wanted to make sure that I was performing, that I was moving at a good pace right up until the very end, it makes sense for me to fuel. That's a conscious choice that I made to ignore my internal cues and instead go off those external cues based on what I know about fueling, based on what I know about how long my run's gonna be and that I'm not gonna be packing food for my run. So external cues can be a huge help or a huge hindrance. What's helped me is trying to become more aware of external cues and challenging my hunger through the lens of which external cues I may feel are at work. It's okay to eat when you're not hungry. Just be aware of your actions, especially if you're struggling to weight maintain or lose weight, if that's important to you, because that way you have a starting point for what you may be able to change.
Okay, we beat pace. We are on pace for this run. Not great at math right now, but I think 3 or 4 minutes under the time that I was aiming for. Almost sub 50 10K. Chef just went up to shower. I am so thirsty right now. Today was the hottest day that we have had yet. So I'm not even hungry. Like toward the end of my runs, I'm never thinking about food. I just start to daydream and like salivate over what the most refreshing thing is that I could have. I'm craving salt randomly. I don't know, water, things that are cold, refreshing. So I'm gonna make some electrolyte and dig through the freezer to see what I can find. Then we'll worry about what to eat. All right, so we settled on some water because I just finished my electrolyte. I did decide to go for a full meal because after I finished my electrolyte, I realized I was indeed famished. So we've got some sticky beef, white rice, green beans, a Riker. We're not eating you. We're just gonna share some green beans with you. So I'm gonna eat this, check out my running splits, then I will check back in with you in a bit. Oh, hey, I just came in here to get our big bounty of Easter goodies, which is looking a little bit less bountiful because Jeff has already had his pickings, but we are making cookies.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Didn't you just have a cookie for breakfast? Yes, I did. Thank you for asking. It is the weekend. It is a holiday. It is a time of abundance, which should feel great. But I get if you're coming at this from a place of struggling with food, as I did in the past, that abundance can feel overwhelming. You might not trust yourself to eat in moderation, and so it might feel more comfortable to lean on restriction. Avoiding foods, throwing foods out, labeling foods as good or bad, eating all foods in one fell swoop so they're out of the house. These are all forms of restriction. And I know restriction is one of those red flag words. I usually don't talk about it in the best of lights, but in the spirit of this video, not labeling things as entirely good or bad, restriction can have its place. Similar to eating in line with external eating cues instead of internal eating cues. I think the key is being aware of it, being aware of when you're restricting and how that behavior affects you. An example of where restriction makes sense is if you are gluten intolerant, restrict gluten, probably a good idea. But for examples that are maybe less extreme, understand that restriction creates scarcity, and scarcity, whether true or created by you, can lead to more impulsive externally rather than internally motivated food choices. If you've been following along with my food videos, you will know I'm a huge fan of the reframe, mental shifts you can make to reduce the perceived difficulty of a situation. And so think about what you enjoy about food beyond just eating it. Do you enjoy trying new recipes? Do you enjoy trying new flavors, flavor pairings, cuisines? Do you like a perfectly plated meal or like a beautiful cookie or maybe like cake decorating, right? Find what you love and lean into that with your relationship with food. I love baking because it's therapeutic for me, but I don't often have time to bake or to try new recipes during the week. And so the break that this gives me deepens my enjoyment from just eating a bunch of Easter candy to now seeing each of those candies as an opportunity. Rather than wanting to eat it all at once, I realize that I'm gonna get a lot more enjoyment by dreaming up different flavor pairings, reworking recipes that I already have, and taking my time making my way through. All right, here's the game plan. Peanut butter cookie base, but I'm not feeling that kind of crumbly, dry peanut butter cookie. I want something cakey, I want something chewy, I want something moist. So it's gonna be very light peanut butter with a high flour ratio. We'll get to that in a sec. Next, I want to have Reese's Pieces instead of milk
milk chocolate chips mixed into the cookie. So like we're gonna have that nice crisp candy shell, but then inside there's a milk chocolate peanut buttery kind of vibe. We're gonna cut some white chocolate into the peanut butter cookies. I find peanut butter cookies are usually a little bit less sweet, so that'll just help smooth it out. I'm gonna shave, I know, I'm so sorry, little lamb, I love you. We're gonna shave the outside of little lamb, see how much white chocolate we can get. If we need more, I have my baking chocolate on hand. We're gonna add in some pretzels because it's kind of the same color, not that we're gonna see this, but yeehaw, make it a trash can cookie. And I really have to look at these more closely. This is a Hershey's cookies and cream egg. If I can shave it down to mostly white chocolate, I will, so that we don't have to use as much of that. If not, these will go to Jeff. It's that time again. Makeup is off, serums are on, comfy clothes. I mean, I've been wearing this all day, but we have been eating dinner so late recently because the sun's staying up longer. I want to do things for more of the day, but then by the time we actually get into the kitchen and ready to eat the things, it is very late at night. However, last video I promised you our chicky nuggy air fryer recipe. So good. And like that, our chicky nuggies are ready. Mr. Riker has been so patient. I'll give you a green bean. Hi, would you like a green bean? Yes, there you go. Beautiful. All right. So our sauce took a little while to simmer. To be honest, it still could be thicker. I'll just show you. It's a little thin still, but it smells so good. It's perfectly sweet and tangy, just like I wanted. So I'm gonna dig into this. Jeff and I are both starving, but I'll check in with you in a bit.
That is it for today's video. I apologize for my voice. I've been talking so much today. I've been having so much trouble with this video, so I hope it was listenable and watchable. But I know the advice gets broken up in this video, so definitely let me know if you'd like a follow-up that just kind of digs a little bit deeper into internal and external hunger cues, the science behind them, and some of the shifts that I made to get to this more mindful place of eating. So if you'd like a follow-up video on that, let's try this. That's no better. Guys, I gotta go, but let me know if you'd like that video. Shoot me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this one. I always love to hear from you in the comments, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.